All right, welcome back to the latest edition of the Coach's Corner here in our new studios at the Alumni Restaurant. KP, Coach, my name is Kevin Papa. As always, the coach is with me, Ian Bain. Coach, KP game, wasn't the results we wanted, didn't play the way we wanted to. What was your takeaway from them?
Just missed opportunities above everything. We had chances to do some things, and we did do some very good things in the game, but it's hard to beat anybody, let alone a great team, when you turn the ball over 3 times and a half. When we settled down, we did some other things, but great learning experience. We got to move on and move on pretty quickly, but we'll get a chance again against them, but we have some other great opponents coming up that we got to get ready for.
All right, let's take a look at the game a little bit. Like you said, we come out, we get the ball and we fumble on our first drive. Defense gets a 4 and out, 3 and out. Exchange a couple punts, then we fumble again. At that point, the ball's, I believe, around the 15 or so. 25,
Yeah.
yes. We get to 3rd and 10. Jarris completes a nice pass. A little lack of tackling and a touchdown.
Yeah, it was a called blitz that didn't blitz, and then a coverage check that didn't check, and then tackles that didn't tackle. So kind of a combination of a lot of things on a 3rd and 10 that we could have maybe got off the field, but certainly not the end of the world in that game. A lot of football left, but just kind of another example of they did make a good play, but we certainly didn't help ourselves in creating any sort of resistance.
Well, that brings us to our play of the game. We're down 7-0. We get the ball, and Gasparo hits Lakatos for a nice touchdown down the sideline. Jake Davis makes a hell of a block.
Yeah.
They talked about it for a little while.
Yeah.
With that new rule where you have to see what you hit.
No blind sides unless you're extended.
But if you watch the tape, Jake's arms actually come out. His arms are, and they called it a touchdown.
Yeah, they got together. They figured the call, which was the right thing. A lot of times, arguing as hard as you can doesn't always get them to change it. So luckily, they were able to talk about it. The guy that threw the flag threw it from a position where the other 2 guys didn't throw it. They were closer, so they talked that out. And fortunately, they were able to rectify the call and touchdown stood. So
Was that play the way it was drawn up?
no, it was a sluggo with a corner on the other side of the field, which was our primary read, and Cole is more of a check down. When the front side of the play wasn't as clear as maybe we needed it to be, we went into scramble drill, and short route converted to a long route, which is what Cole's was, which ended up sneaking past the corner and being alone for a chance to run, and Cole's pretty fast, as we've seen.
And for those that don't know it, especially myself, what's a sluggo?
Slant and go.
Right,
It's a slant and go route, yeah.
All right, so after that, it's 7-7.
Yeah.
KP comes down, gets a touchdown to go 14-7. They get the ball back. The time is winding down at the end of the first half. Defense makes a huge 4 and out turnover on downs. We get the ball in our territory. 27 seconds left. Gasparo, everything breaks down. Gasparo fumbles the ball, which after watching the tape, that's close, but it looks like he's down.
We got to be better with the football.
Any decision, any second guessing, not going for it?
No, we call the max protect safe pass. Worst thing that should happen there is the ball is thrown out of bounds, or you take the sack, you go on the half. I mean, it's easy to say,
wow, we should have
lay up, take a knee, but last year against Severian, we had very similar circumstances, and we hit Ryan Driscoll down the sideline before the half for a touchdown to take a lead into the half against Severian. So, one thing, I don't think that decision was careless or uncalculated or miscalculated, but one thing about me is we're not going to lay up here ever. And, it'd be one thing if we were a little further back. It'd be one thing if we didn't have timeouts. It'd be one thing if we didn't have the best receiving core in the league, top to bottom, but we have those tools and those abilities. So, sometimes you make a decision and it doesn't work out, but it doesn't mean it was a wrong decision. And people are welcome to disagree with that. I don't care.
I don't know. The word out there was they were pumped about the
big momentum
for it,
switch.
big
We
momentum,
stuffed
right.
this quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. And sometimes too, the other team's expecting a run or a safe call, and it's, we called a 2-man route with 7 men in to block, and it wasn't the best protection in the world, but we did have a guy open, and but we got to take care of the football. I mean, at the end of the day, good call, bad call, we need to protect the football.
Right. All right, so they then get the ball back. First play they get it back, throw a pick. Jordan's flagged for a late hit on the quarterback. I thought it was a legit call. After watching the tape, his arms extend after the ball's released.
It was unnecessary. It wasn't a violent hit by any means, but it was
No,
unnecessary.
it's tough to slow yourself down when you're going at that speed at that, but I thought the ball was out. But on the 2 plays later, they throw the ball to the end zone, and their wide receiver extends his arms, knocks our cornerback down, and turns and catches the ball for a touchdown.
It certainly appeared that way, but
That was textbook.
It's a judgment call, I suppose. Maybe I would have judged differently.
And I'm not going to say the refs blew the game or didn't blow the game or whatever. It absolutely did not blow the game for us. We lost it ourselves. But at the same time, they're the only guys collecting a check that day. They should be held a little higher account. I don't think they had the greatest game in the world. But again, it did not cost us the game.
Yeah, the refs didn't make us fumble 3 times.
No. Second half, we go into halftime. What are you telling your team at that point?
Just stay the course. I think all I said was, we're kicking the ball off. You make a stop, we're going to score. It's a 1-possession game. There's nothing out there that we hadn't seen or prepared for. I don't think anybody felt we were out-athleted it or out-toughed or anything like that. And that's what we did. We kicked off. We played defense. We went down the field. We scored. We get it within a point.
So that brings us, coming out of the second half, we're down 20-7. That brings us to our drive of the game. The defense does what it's supposed to do. We exchange a couple punts. We get the ball. I believe we go 10 plays, 65 yards.
Sounds about right.
Highlights there was one where Tommy is scrambling out of the pocket, and Owen realizes what's going on, and Tommy almost makes a crazy Mahomes-type pass going one way, throwing the other, but Palmieri gets it. We get 13 out of that. And then Nally a seam pass for 41.
Yep.
Is that a crossing route because the lattice cuts in front of him? Or?
Yeah, it's a double seam concept that we work, and sometimes they cross, sometimes they don't. Out of that particular set, and the way that we were anticipating a roll cover 3 coverage with one safety in the middle, we were kind of hoping that safety would chase one guy and leave the opposite seam open, or stay off of the chase and the other guy would be open. So it worked out all right. It's a formation that is, tendency-wise more of a run formation for us than a true drop-back set. So I think that helped the play too. And Jack was able to get free, and we hit him. Tommy bought a little bit of time, stepping in the pocket, and threw a really good ball.
And then we hit Nally for 9 yards. Looked like he got in, didn't get in.
Yeah,
Then the sophomore gets it for his second touchdown, Matt Kula.
Yep.
Nice 1-yard run. And once again, like you said, we're within a score now.
Yep.
It's 2014. And then KP is going to do, well, actually, no, it's 2014. The defense goes 3 and out again.
Mm-hmm.
Ball's back in our hands. And for, Nally runs a great route, gets open, and whether, just follows the ball a little bit.
Second down, tough ball. It was second and long. We had run that play against them previously and gotten looks that we liked, and that physical mistakes happen in games. And
Absolutely.
That's not something that we don't worry about that. It was, but we still had a third down after that. We couldn't capitalize on quite. So, we had our chances, but we're still in the fourth quarter. I felt that we had some momentum. 6-point game.
Absolutely. So we enter the fourth quarter down 6. KP decides to go back to old KP.
Yep.
8-minute drive, 13 straight runs. Holiday, you got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, he's a great.
Couldn't get him off the field.
Nope.
What goes through your mind when a drive like that's going on?
Just trying to adjust, trying to make some adjustments. We have a few. They don't always work, and obviously once, statistically speaking, once you get a first down or 2 first downs, the odds start to go in the offense's favor a little bit for a variety of reasons. They're good at what they do for a reason.
Do you think the defense is gassed a little bit at that point? I mean, they're playing a hell of a game going into that play.
I don't think we were gassed. I think it's just a combination of, good opponent, doing some things well. I'm sure we were a little bit fatigued. We were on the field a lot more than our offense was for reasons we've already talked about. But we needed to be better.
Mm-hmm. All right, we get the ball back one last time. We get it up to the 44, 4th and 10. Why are we punting? Why
Well, it wasn't 4th and 10. It was more like a 4th and 20.
4th and 20.
Maybe 4th and 18.
Okay, so
we were on our side of the field, so we were on the minus 40, whatever. We were on the plus side, but we had lost yardage, and we had all 3 timeouts. So the thought process is, we can go for a 4th and 18, which we're not probably going to get.
Right.
So maybe you get it, low percentage. Maybe you get a pass interference, which is more likely. That's not an automatic first down anymore.
No.
And so let's say we turn the ball over in that situation. We get them to 3 and out. We're going to bang the 3 timeouts, but they're going to pin us back at the 5 to 10. Or we could kick the ball, kind of conceding that we most likely aren't getting the 4th and 18, and at least they're starting the drive at their own 20, their own 15. Now we do the 3 timeouts. We're getting the ball back in roughly the same place we just had it, with not a lot of time off the clock with a first down. So it's more trust in the defense. We did eventually get a stop and force them to punt, and that's a different story. Although they picked up a first down or 2, that was the decision.
Right.
I think if we were 4th and 10, we probably would have maybe gone for it or thought about it more. 4th and 18,
it's not a high percentage.
And again, if we didn't have 3 timeouts,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe, but we have 3, so the move is to punt, pin them as deep as we can, assuming we get 3 and out, because we're going to need to anyways. Now they're punting from their minus side of the field, so we're getting the ball back in midfield with maybe, again, 3 plays, 3 quick timeouts, 10 seconds off the clock. So we'd be back in the same spot. Didn't work that way, but again, I assure everybody these decisions are thought about well ahead of time. We don't fly by the seat of our pants.
You have Ben Greco, major injury.
Yeah.
He's done for the season. Any other?
No, it's again just normal maintenance stuff, bumps and bruises. Some guys sore, but I think we've had a good week of practice, and we're at full strength. Otherwise, everybody else that you'd see on that film is there, and got some young guys now just have to be prepped in case.
So take a Ben Greco, for example. Gets hurt, he's out for the year. Talent-wise, a good player, not a great player. He's not a superstar, but heart-wise and team-wise and intelligence-wise, great player. How do you replace that?
And I would even say, just as a player, he is a great player.
Yeah.
He's a great tackler, great effort. I mean, last year he dealt with some injuries, and again, not something that shows up in the paper, but it killed us on special teams.
Right.
He wasn't an everyday offensive, but he did play a lot of defense last year too. I think offensively, we may be okay. But he sort of replaced Jake Davis in the fact that I think he maybe had the more clutch catches, some really big moments.
Some big seam passes early on.
Yeah, I mean, in the Milford game, you can
Milford
identify
game,
a
huge.
couple. Against Andover, a couple. Really great blocker, tenacious, doesn't care about stats, so he'll go do dirty work. He's one of the guys that, we have a great team of great young men. And a lot of them are quiet. He kind of brings a little bit of that swagger.
He's definitely a leader on the team.
But in a more vocal way.
Right.
It's going to be tough to replace because I think he's both a tangibly great player, but also he has all the intangibles. But already, some guys get hurt and they start missing practice. Some guys get hurt and they disappear. He's been at everything. He's out there in the pouring rain yesterday with nothing on his foot. And he's just he wants to be a part of the team, wants to help the guys. Wants to help everybody, wants us to win, and it speaks to his character. I know he's going to have a great recovery. It stinks for us. It really stinks for him. We know how much it means to him and how important it was. But we're a team. We'll rally together. We'll rally behind him. It's tough to see, but it is part of the game. And but as resilient as he is, I know he's going to bounce back and be stronger.
I tell you what, he got back from the doctor's office. And made his father take him to the after party so he could see his friends.
Yeah.
Get better soon, number 5. All right, a couple questions. What do you say to the team after that game to rebound them coming forward?
Yeah, the main message is we obviously want to win every game. That's a given. we don't prepare the way we prepare and push the way we push to lose. But we got to move on. We got to row the boat. We got to move forward. Right now we're still the #1 seed in the Division I South. We still have a chance to win a league title. None of that disappears with one game. If we feel sorry for ourselves, if we are still looking in the rearview mirror for any reason, it will come back to haunt us. But all we can control is what's in front of us. We can learn from and reflect on the past. But again, part of row the boat is your compass. It's where you're going. And right now we're moving forward. We're on to Oliver Ames. That's the biggest thing. The second thing is, we watched the tape, and it's a tough tape to grade because I don't think we played bad. We just made a few very costly mistakes at very costly times. But as lousy as we played in some areas, 6-point game in the fourth quarter. And I think in years past, have we made those mistakes? 35-0, and we're playing against their backups and threes, and we might get a score or two late, but I think the score was more reflective of how we played. And when you look back at the film, we only had 5 third downs in the game, which is a low number. KP had 12 or 13. Our yards per play were up near 7. And to put that in perspective, last year in Division I at the end of the season, only 3 football teams in America had 7 yards per play. Bama, Clemson, and Oklahoma, I think. So 7 yards per play is very good.
That's awesome.
Not great, but it's good. And when you factor in a couple things that we could have done better, maybe that number would have gone up. And in the red zone, we were 1 for 1 when we got there. So, some of the ways that we evaluate the game, KP is a great opponent, and they did great things, and they certainly were a factor in those turnovers too. It wasn't like we just dropped the ball,
right.
But we didn't help ourselves. So at the end of the day, we're not a bad football team. It's one game. It was not reflective on us, but we move forward, and let's see how we respond.
All right. How do you practice this week to put it back behind you and get ready for Oliver?
Same.
Is it just strictly Oliver Ames?
It's the same. I mean, one of the things we said early on is that is part of our process, all right? The work that we put in. That is what we define. Everybody talks about the process. Well, you gotta trust the process. For us, the process is the work that we do. It is the emphasis and the effort to eliminate mediocrity from everything that we do. So, we treat every practice and every game like people say, big game this week. They're all big games. We try to treat every game like it's a national championship. Every play like it's 4th and goal at the 1. And if you do it any other way, then you're doing yourself and your team a disservice. So we didn't change anything. We didn't lighten up. The only thing that we changed is because we had an extra day because we're playing on Saturday. Monday, we were able to go helmets just to install, and it was more for the mental piece, not we got to go lighter, we got to go harder, we got to run more, we got to hit more, we got to do more balls. We do ball security, we do all those things. So we don't sit there and second guess and try to reinvent who we are and what we do. And obviously everybody has an opinion on what we could have done better or how to improve things, and that's fine. But I believe in what we do and how we're doing it. So we didn't need to change anything. Just when it comes to Friday, or in this case Saturday, we need to execute better.
With the bye, help, hurt, didn't really matter.
I don't think it mattered. I don't think it made us play worse. Certainly didn't make us play better. But and they were on a bye too. I think in some ways it was helpful because we do have a lot of new starters. Not that they're not freshmen or sophomores; they are seniors, but they're brand new starters, or maybe they're in a different role, or maybe because we've had some guys, get into some new backup roles just in case, like having a backup plan if you lose Ben Greco or somebody else. So, in some ways it's a positive, especially getting ready for league play. But I think if we had the bye, didn't have the bye, it wouldn't have made a huge difference on the outcome Friday, other than if we had shown up and not had the turnovers and some of the mental mistakes that we had, and some physical mistakes too. I think that was more of what happened.
Oliver Ames, Saturday, 3 p.m. In Easton. Why the Saturday game?
Triple E, and I think Easton is even when I was coaching at Foxborough, they have a history of moving games pretty quickly because of the Triple E threat. I think it's just kind of what they've always done, so they continue to do it, which is fine. So we've actually known this was a Saturday game going back to, I I want to say early August, maybe mid-August, we got that email. And obviously for a lot of other schools, it's been more recent, as the Triple E has developed and gotten worse.
So what are we gonna see Easton do?
Oliver Ames will be in a wing
Or
tee.
Oliver Ames,
Yeah.
sorry.
They'll be in a wing tee set offensively. I would guess it's a traditional wing tee. They certainly have some wrinkles. They run it well. They do a really good job sequencing plays, utilizing some misdirection. I think they're very good with their ball handling. The quarterback, as they sort of mesh the backs through and sequence trap to buck sweep to bootleg. The quarterback's pretty consistent in his ball handling, which can make it tough. So it's very important that we're reading our keys correctly and that we're keying on the proper things. Defensively, because it is a brand new staff, they're in more of a 4-3 cover 4 coverage, but they've also played a wing T team, a team in Roxbury Prep that I kind of did a lot of things and did a lot of things well. So, and then you have Attleboro, who's more of a bruising kind of team. So it's assuming that they don't change too much because they're installing. I think that's what we'll see defensively. Obviously, we're sort of a different group to defend, so they may come out with a few wrinkles to try to match our personnel. But we'll see, and we'll be ready to adjust if they do, like we are most games.
So we'll see Easton on Saturday, or Oliver Ames. It's Easton in youth football, but Oliver
Yeah.
Ames in high school football. So very confusing. Only one question this week, and the question is, what's the criteria for making the playoffs? Is there a certain amount of games you need to win, or is there a certain amount of teams you need to go ahead?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's changed and it's been tweaked. I guess I don't know 1,000%. What some of the different things are, like with exemption games, for example. Like Andover played a game against a team from New Jersey that
Mansfield went to Ohio.
Yeah, so I don't think Andover's game against New Jersey counts. I don't think Mansfield. I mean, they're Division II. All I really know is kind of for us. It's just 100% by points. The first way you make the playoffs is you win your league. So league champions are automatically in. And that I don't think has ever affected anybody because usually so many teams make it. Like last year, we were the 4th seed and we were 3rd in the Hockomock. So, we're Division I, Attleboro's Division I, Taunton's Division I from the Hockomock League. Mansfield KP are 2, Oliver Ames is 3. So, it's all about points. So they factor in your wins. So we beat Milford, which is D3, so we technically played down, even though they're a great team. They're D3, so we got
winning now too.
We got 10 points for that win for us. We beat Andover, who's D1, so we played our level. We got 12 points for that. So that factors in. So there's a differentiation in points. KP, by beating us because they played up, they got 12 points. Had we beat KP, we would have technically been playing down. It would have been 10 points. So there's little things like that you have to figure in. And then we get points for strength of schedule. So every game that Milford wins, we get 3 points. For every game Andover wins, we get 3 points. For every game KP wins from now on, because we lost to them, we get 1 point. If KP was Division I, we would get 1.2 points. So there's just some little qualifier. Every game we win, KP gets 3 points for that. So there's just kind of some of those little subtle nuances, I guess.
And at the end of the day, some guy's going to go behind the screen, punch a button, it's coming out.
I think so. I mean, and then so you take whatever your total points is. So we have earned right now 22 points. Our opponents have earned X for a grand total of Y. Then you divide that by how many games count.
And how many teams do they take?
8 teams in
8
Division
teams,
I,
pretty
yeah,
good.
out of 12. So, like the first year we were here, we went 2-7 and made the playoffs.
Right.
Second year we were 2-7 and had a better team, did not make the playoffs. Last year we were 5-2, made the playoffs as a 4 seed. So right now, I mean, obviously we'd like to win the league. We can't control any of that. We can control beating Oliver Ames, and that's going to keep us in the playoffs for one more week with hopefully good standing with the strength schedule, and we'll see.
All right. I ran into somebody in the food store who asked me, he said to me, hey, I thought this was the year. Hey, keep rowing the boat, guys. One loss is not the end of the season. we're still, right on where we wanna be. We're still plugging forward, and we're still got a shot to make we're still in the playoffs
We're the
technically
number
right
one
now.
seed in the playoffs. We're a top 25 team.
So
in the
let's not
state.
jump off the Tobin, everything's all right. For the coaching in Maine, I'm Kevin Papa, thank you to the alumni, we'll see you again next week after Oliver Ames.